Hey y'all, welcome back to Crazy Questions. I'm your host, Soulful, and guess what? We're at the end of the year. Yeah, true. And I feel like this is finally a space in my brain where I go, how did I survive the wins, the losses, and the moments that tested me the most this year? And I go, I did. It was heavy, but I survived it, right? The mental, the emotional, the spiritual aspect of my growth. And I'm sure you did the same. Look, you're listening. So I guess we all survived this 2025. So whether you're listening from your bedroom, you're driving somewhere, you're sitting in silence trying to make sense of how you survived this year, let me say this. Happy holidays. And if it ain't so happy, well, I'm right there with you, but I'm not here to pretend. This is our little space where we're able to gently understand the truth. So, crazy question, right? Are we all conspiracy theorists? I know. I was listening to Dave Chappelle yesterday, and yesterday was Sunday. And oh my gosh, he awoke some things inside me. And if you are a Dave Chappelle fan like I am, and I'm never one to even try to bring up TV people within my podcast, but it hit home for me. And it only hit home because I don't feel like I was listening to jokes. I felt like I was listening to warnings wrapped in punchlines. And if you really paid attention, Dave really doesn't talk. Like, just talk. He signals. He pauses. He chooses his words so carefully that when you're listening, the silence is what does the talking sometimes. And that's where people throw out the phrase conspiracy theories. But here's the thing. Sometimes conspiracy theorists aren't just questions people aren't ready to answer yet. But let me get into a story. My daughter and I don't know. I always say she's my first love because she's the first aspect of me understanding what love is. So I'm very real with her. And she calls me a conspiracy theorist from I don't know how long. But anytime I'd say things like listen carefully to what they're not saying, or I remember saying pay attention to who benefits. I think one thing that got her the most is nothing that's powerful is ever accidental. And she would always laugh and say, Mom, you're doing too much. And I'd laugh because sometimes you just gotta play it off. Because I knew exactly how it sounded, but here's what I never stopped doing: listening, watching, and connecting dots. Not because I wanted to be paranoid, but because I was raised to be aware. See, growing up in the Caribbean, especially around older folks like I did, you didn't have the luxury of being closed-minded. You sat in the back seat of cars or in the corners of rooms listening to conversations that sound casual, but wasn't quite casual. And you hear the elders say things like, watch people, or nothing ever needs explaining. Our energy never lies. You grow up knowing that the world isn't just what's visible. And Jesus, there's the Bible, the actual Bible, a book filled with metaphors and parables coded with language and symbolisms. Yet we pretend everything is literal when it's convenient and outdated when it's not. So when Dave Chappelle speaks in layers, I recognize that language. It's not new, to me anyways. Dave doesn't just challenge culture, he challenges power. And power doesn't like to be laughed at, especially when the joke lands too close to the truth. And that's why his comedy feels dangerous to a lot of people. Not because he's wrong, but because he's effective. Because humor lowers defenses. And once people laugh, the message slips in just quietly enough where you pay attention. That's not conspiracy, that's strategy. But what's happening, or what's interesting, is over time, my daughter stopped laughing. She started saying things like, wait, I see what you mean there. Or, that's kind of weird when you think about it. Not because I forced anything on her, but because life eventually teaches what parents can't. And that's what Dave's doing right now. He's not telling you what to think, he's just asking you to pay attention. Just notice what is happening around you. And maybe being called a conspiracy theorist isn't just the price you pay for thinking independently. Maybe some people aren't crazy, they're just early. Dave Chappelle never lost his mind. I feel like he just sharpened it. And maybe just because the jokes isn't on him at all. But anyways, this isn't about believing everything. It's about questioning everything, or some things. Because the most dangerous thing in the world isn't a conspiracy theory. It's the population that stops asking questions. I'm your host, Soulful. Happy holidays, and I'll see you in the new year, whatever that looks like. So, stay weird.